guys! About a week ago I have uploaded a 1K thank you video where I got a bit soppy and, you know, got a bit emotional, thanking all of you lovely people for subscribing to me and just joining my little family and friends in general, wanting to, you know, see my face. Apart from almost crying, in that video I also asked you for some questions if you wanted to ask me anything at all, and I said I will do a Q&A for the occasion of reaching 1000 subscribers. So here I am. I am literally touching the bookshelf now. This is how close I am to it. My flat is really tiny. It's a tiny room that we have. I just moved to my workstation to film this here and make it a bit more casual than usual. This is where I work if I don't film, so, you know, if you wanted to know, now you know. So first of all, thank you so much everyone who actually asked some questions. I was really worried that nobody will and it's just gonna be me not answering anything. I have decided to answer all of the questions, so this might be a bit lengthy. At any point, if you think you had enough of me for the day, you can just, you know, excuse yourself and just go do something else. But I will answer everybody's questions, so you can choose to either watch all of it or just bits of it or just none of it. I know Q&As are not everybody's things, but I personally really like watching these, and I want to know you better, I want you to know me better, and yeah, so let's just go into it. I think I'm also gonna try and just do them from the oldest to the newest, so the people who asked me first are gonna get answered first. I think the first question came from Book of Flicks Taylor. Hi Taylor, thanks so much for asking me things. So one of her questions is, what is your all-time favorite animal? Now, if we're just talking about animals, it probably is otters, because otters are amazing, man. Otters are fun. They just seem to have so much fun. However, if we're talking about pets, then definitely a dog. Well, now we might be thinking like, you have 2 cats. Yes, I do, but I grew up with a dog and I am very much a dog person. You guys know I adore and love my cats, but I'm a dog person. Then she's also asking for favorite movies. These constantly change, and I mean constantly. It's really like, obviously, you know, Harry Potter. I really do enjoy movies such as Inception, or Brilliant Minds was a really great one. Sometimes I will watch an indie one like Lobster or The Lobster. I can't remember if they had a D or not. There's also a movie called Never Was, I believe. This has been a favorite of mine for a long time. I don't even know why, but it just spoke to me. This was before I even studied psychology, but it's just like, I think it might be one of the reasons why. Probably not, but it's a great movie. But yeah, it honestly changes all the time, but I do like movies. And the last question she's asking is, what are your other favorite things to do when you're not reading, in your spare time besides reading? To be honest, I don't really have that much spare time now at all. All my spare time goes into Bookstagram and BookTube. What I did used to do before I moved here though, during the summers I would always kayak, so I do miss that. I suppose that counts, right? Another question is from Elisabelle. She's asking me, besides Harry Potter, what are my other favorite book series or books? One of the reasons that I started BookTube is to get back to reading, so I'm pretty much behind everything. So I'm speaking, I haven't read Mortal Instruments, I haven't read the Throne of Glass series. Honestly, the only series that I've read during that time was the Game of Thrones, and I will not call that my favorite because I have problems with it. What I'm gonna say now probably will change very soon, because every time I read something is usually good because I'm catching up on the good stuff. So, but one thing I can say for certain is that The Name of the Wind from the Kingskiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss is definitely gonna stay up there. So I think it's safe to say that one for now. She's also asking what type or breed my cats are, and my cats are Bengal cats. And we did go to the animal shelter and we did want to adopt one. The thing is that my dog died only a few years ago, and my dog was an amazing dog. It's like the best dog ever, the happiest dog in the universe and the sweetest dog in the universe. However, my dog has been ill since he was 2, maybe even earlier, and he had epilepsy. And so for a child to go through and watch your dog, your so loved dog, to go through an epilepsy seizure, which lasted for much longer than it does for humans, by the way, is just excruciating. To like, no, you want to help your pet and you can't, and you just have to. So after looking after my dog for so long, I really wanted a healthy pet, and I know that sounds bad, but I didn't want to get an old pet because it would, as much as I would like to help the pets in the shelter, I needed to look after myself. I wanted a pet that I wouldn't have to worry for at least a certain period of time before they get old, and they didn't have any new kittens, and I thought if we are already buying the cats, we're gonna buy the most dog-like cat I can find, and the most dog-like cat character-wise is a Bengal. They are brothers from another mother, and Momo is 2 months younger. And the third question she asked me was, what do I actually do as a career? I'm fairly certain I will go back to university for my postgraduate diploma, but I've decided to take a break because psychology is such a wide subject, and obviously you have to pay for your master's, so I really wanted to take a break, clear my mind, earn some money, and then decide on what I want to do next. I'm currently working at the university, which means that I overlook all health science students before they go out on place, work with NHS, and I don't know what's gonna be next. So I am very much one of those people who do not know what they want from life, which is maybe the main point of my anxiety, so now you know. Next we have the lovely Clara from Clara Reads Books. She's asking me what is my all-time favorite movie. I already answered that, and that probably never was. She's also asking if I could shapeshift into another animal, what would it be? Thunderbird? Does that count? I feel like that should count, or a dragon. But also depends on what world. If I would transform into dragon here, I'm sure they would like nuke me or something ridiculous. It is 2016 after all. Cake or pie? Absolutely pie. I actually don't like cakes because I don't like the cream. Pie. Pie all the way. What about you, Clara? Are you a cake lover? She's also asking, will my significant other be in a video with me? The answer to that is yes, and I can link it down below because one of them already went out. And how did we meet? Well, it's nothing exciting. We met in 2012, I believe. Still a shitty story because it was a uni party, so that's crap. So he was just about to start his 3rd year and I was just about to start my 2nd year, and we met through mutual friends, and we're not really sure how that happened, but within like a week or so we were already sort of dating. So here we are 4.5 years later. What's the most embarrassing story I am willing to share? The one that always comes to my mind the quickest is when I was maybe 7 or 8, my family had a New Year's party, I think, and like the whole family was there, the family's friends were there, and some people stayed over to just basically spend the night there. I believe it was my uncle or my mom's cousin or something like that, and I was sleepwalking for the first time in my life, and I was going to the bathroom, but obviously I was sort of, you know, asleep and sleepwalking, so I confused the rooms a little bit. So you can probably see where this is going. Long story short, I almost peed on my uncle because I had my pants down and I was ready to just go. But thankfully my dad was walking by to the kitchen to grab a glass of water probably, and he just saw me and he was like, what the actual fuck? Yeah, that's a story. Next we have a lovely comment from Flower Girl 444. Yeah. And she says that I mentioned that English is not my first language, which I think is very apparent from my accent, which I hate. Could be worse, right? She's asking when I've learned it. I don't actually know. I did take it at school, so I was learning it from when I was 12, I think, maybe. Although to be fair, I think it was movies and TV shows, because I would watch the shows in their original language, which usually was English. So I think I picked up most of it from there, and then some from the books that I didn't want to wait for the translations to come out. So yeah, that's how I learned it. She's also asking what my mother tongue is, and that is Lithuanian. And she's asking for some tips for people who are trying to learn English. And as I said, I think the biggest helper for me was watching movies and watching TV shows, and also reading in English. Even though if you think that it's quite a struggle, it really does help if you take a book and then just highlight or underline the word that you don't understand, and then at the end of the chapter get a dictionary or just go Google and just look up the word. You have no idea how much that helped, at least in my personal experience, and I know I'm not the only one. I'm reading the next comment by Evangeline Willows. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly. And she's saying, I'm glad to be a new member of your tiny town. I always love to read. However, I did have a break, but that does not mean that I didn't read things. I did, but I was just focusing on my studies so much that I only read things related to my studies, because I would get angry and I would get anxious from reading something else because I thought I could be reading something for my studies. So that's why I didn't read for pleasure, but I always loved it. If I could travel to any fictional worlds from the books that I read before, what would it be? It depends if we're talking about the same timeline as the books are taking place, because probably neither, because something very fucking horrible always happens in those books. But if we're talking afterwards, when everything's calm, then most likely Harry Potter. But if I'm still a muggle, then no thank you, because I would just be so sad. I would probably go to the world of Alice in Wonderland, because everything just seems so bloody magical and you just never know what's gonna happen. So next comment is by Belle Walker, and she's asking what is my favorite author to read. I think again at the moment that would be Patrick Rothfuss. Just the way he writes, the descriptions he makes, the amount of descriptions he puts in, as in just the right amount, because I do get quite frustrated when people kept going on and on and on about how things look like, and especially if it's written in a dry, very static way. I just cannot deal with that. I just put the book down and then I just go into the biggest slump. I also really enjoyed the writing of Marissa Meyer. I thought she was really witty in the correct places, and because sometimes I feel authors are brilliant at either the funny bits or the serious bits, and I think Marissa Meyer just combined the two really well, and I think that's always a great thing for an author, so I really enjoyed those two. She's asking what is my favorite food. That's like choosing a favorite child. It's really difficult to answer that. Are we talking dishes or products or spices? Because it's really hard to choose just one, because the combination is what works the best. I'll just tell you what's my favorite thing to add to food is, if it's savory, and that's dill. I cannot live without dill. Dill is freaking amazing. If you don't use dill, why? Can you please sort yourself out and use some dill? Dill makes everything better. Dill. Bill is also asking where I have been to. Czech Republic, Austria, Italy. Italy, we sort of went over the mountains while skiing to Switzerland with my dad once. I don't remember if by accident or not though. So whilst I've been to all those places, I don't know if that really counts, because I didn't do anything tourist-wise, I just skied. So all of those places literally looked exactly the same. If you ever been skiing, you know the stereotypical skiing town. That's all I've seen in those places, and while driving through, because we would usually drive. And then I visited Croatia because one of my flatmates during university times and one of my best friends is from Croatia, so we visited that, and I just have so much love for Croatia, you have no idea. I think that place is brilliant. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. Obviously, I can't really say that because I haven't been to a lot of places. I've also been to Poland and Germany, and we did visit France as well. So I have been to a fair amount of places in Europe. This is a whole different story, but I used to dance competitively in Latin and ballroom dances, and we had a competition in Russia, so I had to get a visa and go to Russia for that competition, so I suppose I visited Russia as well. I think that's it. Time and Chances asks, which BitCon would you most want to attend? Australia, USA or Netherlands, and why? I would probably be more likely to visit the Netherlands one because it's closer. I would most want to visit the USA one because it's the biggest one as far as I'm aware. Yeah, it would just be awesome. Now we have Ashley from A Dash of Ash, as she's asking, when are you going to start the Mortal Instruments and or Gemini, and I need an exact date here. No pressure. I swear I will start the Mortal Instruments really soon. Try to attempt that in January. I cannot give you the exact date, but January? I hope so. I don't think I will start Gemini that soon, but definitely before the third one comes out. She's also asking if she comes to Scotland if I would be able to be her guide, and to that, like, absolutely girl. I might not be the best person to be your guide because I know really not a lot about Scotland, but know a bit. But yes, do come. It would be so much fun. Do prepare for very crappy weather though. As long as you're okay with that, I can guide you through the crappy weatherland. The third question is, did you think your bookshelf would fill up that quickly? Because let me tell you, the same thing happened to me, except yours is a lot prettier. Well, I don't know about prettier, but I really didn't. I think because some of the books are hardcover and they have this papyrus sort of paper, they really take a lot of space, and also I only have one bookshelf and it just filled up so quickly that it's scary. I think by February I might really need a second bookshelf, which is a problem because there's no space for a bookshelf in our flat, which is scary and I don't know what to do. I'll just have to pile my books on the floor until we move out. But then I will feel like unfair to the books that are on the shelf because, you know, they will feel more love. Rashmi Shaw is asking, what's the one thing that makes you happy even if you're feeling down except your cats? If we take the obvious and say, you know, Logan, family and blah blah blah, you know, a little bit of chocolate always goes a long way. And if not chocolate, sometimes embracing the sadness for an hour or so makes me very happy afterwards. You should from time to time just embrace the sadness, get it out of your system, and then move on from that. She's also asking, what is your favorite thing about Christmas? And my favorite thing about Christmas is food. Jenna the Dark One is asking, what booktube and or book related events are you most likely to attend? Literally anything. Anything that's nearby and is not crazy expensive, I would go to. Where would I like to live and why? We were actually considering moving to New Zealand for a bit. We're still thinking about maybe doing that, not particularly sure, but I would like to live somewhere that's a bit warmer and has greener scenery. Living in Britain, especially at this moment when you're not from Britain, it's a little bit complicated. There's a lot of prejudice going on. I'm sure America is not better off at the moment either, so it's not a great time to be an immigrant, let's just say that. Why New Zealand though? Well, it's really pretty there, and also that's where hobbits live, so is that not reason enough? I Livy for Books is asking, am I a morning or nighttime person? I was very much a nighttime person. I still struggle to fall asleep earlier than midnight. There's like just no chance unless I'm shattered. No, actually, when I'm shattered, I don't fall asleep even for longer because brain. However, as I get older, I do appreciate whenever I wake up really early, especially on my off days, because I feel like I need those hours and I want to be productive, and I love it when I wake up in the morning, and I just love the feeling of knowing you still have that many hours in the day. But I am not a huge fan of actually waking up. So music wise, I listen to pretty much everything, and I might listen to one thing today and a complete opposite genre tomorrow, but at the moment I am really loving this one song, and I will link it down below so you can go and check it out. I think this was the type of music that I would sometimes write to, and I love it. Ben from Ben Sanders is asking, what is my all-time favorite quote? At the moment I'm not big on quotes. I'm trying to change my attitude towards them. The only thing that I can really remember that really stuck with me was a quote from Harry Potter. And it's obviously from Dumbledore, because let's be honest, that's the only person that has like good quotes in that book. It's when Harry is in the King's Cross station in the Deathly Hallows, and he's asking him, is this real or is it just all in my head? And he says something along the lines, of course this is all in your head, but who's to say that that's not real? Ben is also asking me what's the most single important advice that I would like to share with everyone. Do not eat with your mouth open. You never know who that's gonna annoy, and you might get punched in the face when you least expect it. I just think we live in such a fucked up time where everyone's rushing, everyone's hurrying everywhere. People don't have conversations because they're just in their phones. People literally sitting with their family at Christmas dinners and just looking at their phone. Phones make me angry sometimes. I'm sorry if I sound really like old-fashioned or something, but just put your phone back down, you know, just interact with people. It's important. So basically don't let the 21st century distract you from what's in front of you. Reina Liddell, again, I'm sorry if that's not how you pronounce your name. She's asking how old I am, and I am 24 and turning 25 in 2017. Yay! She's also asking what are my all-time favorite makeup products. Then she continues on with a very kind compliment, so thank you so much, that's really sweet of you. If we're talking about the brands, I think my favorite brand is Kat Von D, because anything she does is freaking amazing. And my favorite items might be... And my favorite item is either a lipstick or a highlighter, I think. I don't know, again, I think they just all go together. She's also asking what did I go to uni for, and that's psychology. Isabel Westman is again asking about my cats, and that's Bengals, as I already mentioned. Book Loving Hybrid is asking if I could go anywhere, where would I go? I think at the moment I would really like to visit Japan. I've really been wanting to go there for a while now. I'm not really sure even why, but I want to visit it. She's also asking if I would have any more pets. than I already have. I only have 2, that's not that crazy. And of course I would love to have a dog, and I do plan to have a dog, but not for at least 5 or 6 years. So see, Esther, a very friendly girl from Bookstagram, also is asking if I wouldn't have to worry about anything, food, money, etc., what would I like to do? If I didn't have to worry at all, oh, this is not gonna be a surprise or an original answer, but I would be a writer. If not the writer, then I would be a clinical psychologist. I have my reasons for not pursuing that at the moment. I might do, I probably won't though. Another thing I would maybe like to do is that if I had all the money, I would just create something of my own, so I would have my own line of something, because whatever I do, I would like to be my own boss at some point, and just not having any restrictions would make it so much easier. She's also asking what is my most anticipated release for 2017. I think at the moment my most anticipated release is the 3rd book to the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I thought it was the last one, but now I'm confused. I think there's more. I just wish it would be the last one. Emilia from Coffee Chat is also asking me if I could take any 5 items from a bookish world to a zombie apocalypse, what would I take? I'm trying not to include Harry Potter as much into my answers, but this question is just begging for it. So a time turner, a wand. I would take a dragon glass dagger from Game of Thrones, you know, just for some good old insured stabbing. Like if that doesn't work, then nothing will. I would take flue powder and a polyjuice potion. A world hopper is also asking where did I grow up. I grew up in Lithuania. I moved to Scotland because I wanted to attend the university here. I was 19, so up until that point I lived in Lithuania. She's also asking candy or pastries. Pastries. To go back to the other question about what makes me happy, pastries. I love pastries. Brittany from Brittany Reads is asking what are my favorite types of videos to film. Unboxings, because I open the boxes when I film the unboxings, so it's just overall I'm just very happy. So I do try to only film the videos that I enjoy, because otherwise I think it would be very evident for people watching that I didn't enjoy that, so in turn they wouldn't enjoy watching me. So I think it is really important to only do the videos that you think you would enjoy watching as a viewer as well. And I also really enjoy filming the book talks and discussions. I think those are really important, and I know they're not the most popular ones, but I really do enjoy talking to people about the books and going into a bit more of a gritty nitty details of the books and just discussing things, and especially reading the comments when people point out something that you maybe missed or haven't noticed, or just counteracting what you said, or just discussing the book. It's really fun. Brianna is also asking for my favorite book series, and at the moment that is the name of the Wind series. Sarah Bookvillain is asking a few things. So the first one is, what's your favorite fictional book about mental illness? And to be honest, I'm almost ashamed to say that I haven't read that many about mental illness. That's definitely one of my New Year's resolutions for 2017 to do, because for the ones that I did read, I either hated or loved them. Hated because maybe it's romanticized, and you should not do that. This is a topic that's already so stigmatized, and I hate it when a book or a movie represents mental illness as cool. It is not cool, it's excruciating. To be diagnosed with mental illness, #1 criteria for all of them is for that factor, whatever it is, depression, anxiety, PTSD, to prevent your normal functioning. And not to be able to function in real life is not fun, and it's definitely not cool, so I hate it. And I think anyone that has a mental illness of sorts would hate it. But so I feel like it's gonna be either really a big win or a big loss. But at the same time, mental illness is fascinating, and seeing that in fiction would be amazing. So sad, I do really want to read more. I'm a bit afraid because I am very skeptical about it. I really do want to read it, but I think my favorite from that very few fictional literature pieces that I read about mental illness would be The Portrait of Dorian Gray. Yeah, I need to read more about it. She says, you sound from Russia or Germany, and oh god, no offense for people from Russia, but god, I hope I don't sound like I'm from Russia. I'm from Lithuania. And Zara's also asking when my birthday is, and that's the 18th of June. Do you guys know what I'm doing on my birthday this year? Going to see the Harry Potter play, and I'm so excited, you have no idea. Beneath the page is asking what is my favorite thing about psychology, how it changes you when you learn about it. I honestly feel like anyone who studied psychology became a better person because of it, as studying anything would do to you, hopefully. It's amazing, it's fascinating, it's scary as hell. It makes you think about mortality in way differently. It's also fascinating how it changes your social interaction, because sometimes you cannot stop but analyzing things and seeing things where maybe you're not welcome to see those things, and recognizing some tendencies and stuff like that. It's not all that great and it's very complicated and difficult science. It's also sometimes bullied by other sciences, which is a whole different story. It's just fascinating all around. The big book asked me a few things, and the first one was tell us a joke, and can I please not do that, because like I'm not funny. What is my editing process like, and how long does it take for me to edit a video? At the moment, almost on daily basis, I get asked the questions about my equipment, about how I started my YouTube channel, about how I take my photos for my Bookstagram. I am no way qualified to answer those questions, and I am definitely not the best person to ask about these things, but I did get asked this so many times. So if people are interested, maybe next year I will start a how to or how I do things video series, because I do feel like these questions are gonna keep coming, so I might as well just make a few videos about it, upload it, and so then people can go and watch this in with more detail than I sometimes have the time to explain to them. But what I'm saying is, for people who are watching and for people who are interested in these sort of videos, would you like me to do something like that? Because I could. I don't know how helpful those would be, but I could. Sorry, I know that's not what you asked. So to answer your question, my editing process usually involves an energy drink, a snack, and the whole evening basically. The time that it takes for me to edit something definitely 100% depends on what sort of video that is. I think I already mentioned, but editing a whole, it literally is gonna take me no time at all. Unless I'm having a very incoherent day, because sometimes I'm telling you, something in my brain just snaps and I just cannot speak English. Just not at all. No, it's not pretty. As a rule, the most time-consuming videos for me to edit are book reviews and book discussions, but that's only because those are the longest ones. So now we have a few questions from a person called Dakiana. I'm so sorry, I'm not gonna even attempt the second name because I will butcher it, as I just did with the first name, with your first name. I'm so sorry. What is my all-time favorite fantasy book? And for the nostalgic reasons, Harry Potter. I know is probably not the best one, but there's a lot of foreshadowing and I really appreciate that, so let's just stick with Harry Potter. Favorite sci-fi book of all time? I think it's a very close tie between two very different books. So first one would be Illuminae, and the second one would be The Martian, because The Martian was hilarious and Illuminae was also hilarious, but they're two very different. One is an adult and one is a young adult, and it really does come across as that. Those two are my favorite. Oh, maybe Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy though. Man, I don't know. To be fair, I have not read that many romance books, if I've read any. I've read very few just purely romance books. If we're talking about just contemporary books, I've also have not read many of those. This is going great. It's an indie book called Our Demon's Best Friends. I will leave the review that I have uploaded a few weeks ago, I think, down below, so if you want to, you can go and check that out. Catherine Cole is also asking what is my all-time favorite book, and at the moment, as I said, is The Name of the Wind. And Andrea Daniela is asked what is my all-time favorite quote, and again, that is the Albus Dumbledore quote. I had to put the light on because it got really dark. Jade is asking me if I liked her Christmas present for me, and of course I did. You know, I loved everything that she sent to me, and I hope you liked my present as well. Anthus Bookness is asking me what is the worst book that I read in 2016, which is a very interesting question. My least favorite book of that I read in 2016 was Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I know, very unpopular opinion, I'm sorry. I just had a lot of problems trying to be Russian but not actually following anything Russian except making names Russian. That's just very distracting. And if you didn't know, Grisha is just like a cutesy name for Gregor, which is a male name, so it's like calling the whole magic side of the book Bobs. It was very distracting and did not do anything for me. Not to say that I didn't enjoy it at all, I did, but I also thought that the female character was very concerned about her appearance, more so than you should be in a YA novel. It's just not sending a correct message. Where would I like to travel the most? As I said, at the moment I think I would really like to visit Japan. My favorite villain must be Moriarty, because can't get better than that. And the one thing that I'm most looking forward to in 2017 is all the books. and also some new things that I'm trying to incorporate in my channel because I just think it would be really nice. Jodie Page Books is asking me what are the top 3 places that I would like to visit. So as I said, Japan, New Zealand, and I don't know, I want to go everywhere. Everywhere. There we go. And a fictional book that I think everyone should read is The Name of the Wind. I don't know how many, like, I'm sorry, I know I'm repeating myself, but what can I do? It's my favorite book. Jason is asking me when I was a wee lass what I wanted to grow up to be, and I've always wanted to be an author. So, you know, probably not professionally, but maybe one day I'll publish something. That'd be nice. Writing something would probably help with that. What's my favorite and my least favorite thing about Scotland? My favorite thing is the Highlands because they're beautiful, and my least favorite thing is the weather. What's the grossest Scottish food you've eaten so far? I think the Christmas stuffing is the worst thing that I've eaten here. I can't really say haggis because I never properly tasted it. I took like a little tiny bite so I could say that I've tried it and people will stop trying to get me to try it. But, On a scale from 1 to 10, how ready are you for a zombie apocalypse? Well, -5 would probably be correct. Shirin Alabadi? Sorry. She's asking me if I'm just as upset with Rick Riordan's books and which ones are my favorite or which ones I'm planning to read. The latter, because I have not read any yet. Sorry, but I will start from the very beginning and I'll work my way through them. Question number 2 is the top fantasy series, and again, The Name of the Wind. Question number 3 is who do you love more, your cats or us? Obviously my cats. Totally you. Books Glorious. Books is asking me what is my advice to people who are just starting. Again, probably not the best person to ask. I still consider myself a massive newbie, which I plan to stay as for a long time. But I think, just as I said, as long as you're making your videos, the videos that you would like to watch, and as long as you remember to have fun and just remember this is a hobby and not your job. And again, I might do those little series of like my advice on, really don't know if I'm qualified enough, but you know, it's just how I did it. If you think it would be maybe useful for you to see how I sort of do it, then maybe I'll do those videos then. A Wandering Mind is asking in which fictional world I would like to live, considering the fact that they're all horrible. Probably none of them. It's a Bookish Thing 13 is asking me if I had Apologies potion, who would I turn to? I think I would like to turn into Neil deGrasse Tyson because that guy has the knowledge that I want to have in my head. I would like to be him for a little while. I really like the second question, and that is what scene from Harry Potter would you like to have been included in the movies? And I know it was in the deleted scenes from the last movie, but really mad that they did not include the scene where Dudley's saying goodbye to Harry and that he's surprising everyone by, you know, actually being nice to Harry for the first time in like forever, except for that broken teacup. They also excluded that weird goodbye scene with Aunt Petunia, and I think those were really crucial to the whole freaking story, and I think there was such a missed opportunity that they left that out. To answer the third question, I think since The Name of the Wind is actually turning into a movie soon, I think Illuminate would make a great movie. I cannot answer who I would cast as the main character because I am clueless as it comes to names or actors. So, I'm so sorry, I know I'm not gonna pronounce this correctly, but Gary Demple? What is a pet peeve of mine? Not so much at the moment, but I really used to dislike when people come into your room where you had your door closed and then leave the door just open, and I'm just like, why? Just close it! And yes, I did enjoy reading since a young age. Amala is again asking me what I like to do besides making videos and reading, and to top the previous answer is probably just dance. Just when I have to clean or something, I just dance because it's more fun if you dance. And she's also asking me how old I am, and that's 24. Rhea is asking another very popular question that I get in my DMs, and that's what camera and editing software do I use? Just to answer it very shortly, I use my very old Nikon camera. I had this for 6 or 7 years, and many of modern day phones actually have better cameras now than my camera, but I think what people really don't speak about often as far as DSLRs are concerned is not the actual camera, it's the lens that's more important. But again, if you want me to make a video Not an expert, again, so far from an expert, but if you want me to make a video, just let me know down in the comments below and I shall do so. For the editing software, I use a Final Cut Pro. If you could use one power and to be one character from DC or Marvel, which one would you be? I would say Deadpool, but that guy is batshit crazy. But not dying is quite useful for, you know, the fact that you could read all the books. Trying to think of someone who hasn't lost their parents. They just all have it really bad, so I don't know if I would like to be one. I don't know, everybody's lost their parents. I'll just rather not have a superpower but have my parents for as long as I can. Last but not the least are some questions from Pen Clicking Jen. I love the name, by the way, it's really funny. If I would get another cat, what would I name him or her? We try to give our cats Greek names, and Momo was originally Titan, but it was just so silly and clumsy that just did not fit. So we went with something that's a same syllable twice because that just seemed more appropriate. I have to see the personality of the cat first and then just sort of try and give it a name. Second question is, who's your favorite Weasley? And I really do like Arthur Weasley. I think he's such a sweetheart. Just so silly and so obsessed with all things Muggle, and it's just such a great character. Do you hope to one day write and publish your own book? Absolutely. And just in general, like, yes, I would. I don't know how good it would be, I don't know if it would ever be published, but I will at least write some books, that is for sure. And that's everything! If you guys survived the whole video, the freaking 100 points to whatever house you are in. I know this took really long and it's absolutely dark now. I didn't want to exclude some people, I just wanted to answer them all. If you had stuck through the whole video, you're a real trooper, so thanks so much for watching. Subscribble if you haven't already. I just love that word, I'm just gonna say it from now on because, you know, it was funny, so subscribble. And most important, as always, I hope you have a great day. I will see you very soon. Bye!